Professor Anton response video. I guess I'll make this a YouTube video, do an update video. Just don't know exactly how to respond to Professor Anton. I mean, he's saying we can't be reductionistic, but I think if there was any other subject and he had the obligation to, blueprint it, describe the circumstance, he'd be plenty reductionistic in getting to the point. And, so this is just a double standard, and the only reason why they don't want reductionism on the subject of the meaning of life is because when you get to it, okay, it's a simple blueprint, a simple design. Accrued forces are in control of precious commodities. Who was the first person to say that? I wonder. No, let's go research that one, see who wrote the first book that everybody else is mimicking. Anyway, alright, so we have to reload this page. This is just going to be impossible. I know this is going to be impossible.
Okay, so I'm responding here to a couple of videos that are in the air right now. One was Conference Report had posted a video up called Pessimism Light, and he was attacking, I think with good reason, the over-reductionist, some of the strains of over-reductionist, anti-natalist argument on YouTube, and was talking about, I guess, the failure to address the long history of some of the thoughts that have
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess I could just say, well, demonstrate it. Demonstrate some thought in history that I haven't dealt with. I mean, most of these philosophies, you're going to find some sort of rainbow or leprechauns or pixie dust or some other kind of nonsense. It hasn't been since Darwin and then Mendel and then modern science that we really knew the construct that formed us, okay? This mechanism of a DNA molecule and chemistry that unzips the molecule and reads the components, all right? And then as the components can change through error, and so it reads the components differently because of the changes in the components, and so it creates a different style of organism because different code is written there. So if you understand something about software languages and that kind of thing, you can sort of understand how it's just code, okay, describing as a linear process. As the stuff is read, it's miles and miles and miles of DNA for an organism like us. And it's read in sequence, and that's how we form. And what is created is it's initiated with the egg and the sperm, and the cells divide all in order, and then they take over their little section of the building process, and this one builds over here, and this one builds over here, and they become independent organs almost in a sense. And they are triggered throughout their existence through chemistry for certain things to take place when certain things happen, and it's incredibly complex in terms of the number of instructions. But what's taking place at the machine level, the machine code, is incredibly simple. And it's much like your computer, it's the same thing. The machine code is dumb, simple, stupid. That's why it's running at gigahertz a second, is because what it's doing is so simple. It takes zillions of these processes to do something relatively simple on your computer screen. This video took incredible numbers of entries in a memory location to be read, mailboxes we want to call them, and an instruction or a quantity had to be pulled out of that box. And sometimes one instruction or one piece of code is in 10 boxes, and well, it's got to go through each one of the boxes and pull them all out. I mean, it's dumb simple at its source, at its origin, and that's my point. All right, well, I'm getting to the argument again, but it's not reductionism to acknowledge where we got how the machine works. I mean, really. We're describing a computer. Now, what do you want to do? You want to talk about its case? You want to talk about whether it's got a pretty logo on it? And then say you've done life justice? I'm going to say, no, you've got to talk about the processor, the code, the memory locations, the bus speed. These are all the things that make the thing work. This is how it runs. That's the truth of it. And you're not being reductionistic if you leave out details like, well, the chip's made out of, it has gold connectors on a silicone wafer, and it's, emulsified in a resin body. I think you can leave out that. Jeez.
And with the darker sides of humanity and or of existence in life, and I guess some of the deep problems associated with.
Well, I suppose there's a certain wrongness about this right off the start, right? Because neither you or Conference Report are exactly pessimists, and now you're telling pessimists how they should be. I mean, that's sort of a joke, right? I mean, Conference Report's so much of a pessimist that he threw 3 kids against the brick wall of futility. And so that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, right? And although you haven't had children, it seems to me pretty clear that you might not have had them because you personally didn't want them to get in your way or something like that. You didn't want the burden. You wanted to travel and give lectures or whatever you wanted to do, that you had a priority. But I suppose if somebody else was going to, I don't know, I can't even say for sure, if somebody else was going to be burdened with them, that maybe you'd press the button, as long as you didn't have to do it. I mean, if they popped out as adults, maybe you'd be pushing buttons all over the place. Or if you had a limit of 3 buttons you could press for your quantum of human creation, you'd go ahead and press buttons. If there was a machine that produced humans, and each human got to press 2 buttons, would you go press your 2? Would you go up to the machine and push in the little button, say, I want him to have blonde hair, blue eyes, and be a snarky son of a bitch? And would you press the little buttons to pop out your little junior at 18 years old and fully capable of taking care of himself, so you didn't have to bother with that nonsense? I sure as hell wouldn't.
Maybe ignoring some of the larger context and imagining that you can just right now quickly sum it up into a quick syllogism with, a few statements and go, aha, see, look, here's the fact.
Well, I mean, they're important, though. When you say something like need, the idea that we perceive a need for something to exist. We like it. We approve of it. Our perception of need is just that, a perception. If it doesn't have any enduring function, okay, then that's all we're doing. We're just going based on the fact that we perceive its value. Where something where you can make an argument that where something was impacting something sentient, and it either made it happy or it made it sad, or there's a consequence to happiness or sadness, well, yeah, you do what's required. So if you could press a button and cure somebody's cancer, there'd be an obligation to press the button. But if there's no point in paying, if you had to, even if you had to pay to do it, but you wouldn't pay to do something that's really not necessary. I didn't say that very well, but these are sort of important. You could call them cliches, you can call them reductionites, but they're important. I mean, the fact that we are the ones who perceive the value of our existence, and that we can't make a rational argument for why Earthlings would be better than Martians, or Venetians, or Plutonians. We can't make that argument. We can't make the argument that, there is no rational way to make an argument that if we became as non-existent as them through some universal calamity, that you could make some rational argument that, something vital happened. Because we're obviously not thinking something vital happened because these other civilizations don't exist. I mean, there's no way to explain how we seem completely incapable of recognizing any absence in the universe because Plutonians aren't watching American Plutonian or Plutonian Idol or whatever.
And I do agree with it, and I think, a couple of things. One is that there is, I think it's a kind of yearning to feel powerful, to sum things up.
Right, okay, so I can just talk about you have an itchy penis. You got warts on your anus, and that's why you're all kind of buggery, and you want to see the future because you're hoping they'll cure anal warts. I mean, I can make up some crap about what you're after in life. You want me to do, well, I could do some more of it. I really could. Do you think that's a real argument, though? The stuff I can just make up stuff and put inside your head and see that's what they're after. They're after power. I mean, you don't see how that's just crap as an argument? Try again, Professor.
It's like people want to take the world's complexity and in just a couple of phrases or a turn of an argument, it's like it feels powerful to put so much together.
Yeah, whatever. It's like you're doing a puzzle and you see some pieces match and you start putting them together and these ideas and concepts match. I mean, you look at the world as a child, let's say, and you say, this seems really screwed up. And then you learn about evolution and you say, ooh, that makes a little more sense now. Now that explains a big pile of this screwed up part. And then, you add more and more texture and context to that understanding and you can start making things make sense, and you start learning about determinism and the fact that, oh yeah, okay, somebody has to be programmed and everything that they are is a consequence of what influences them. And so, if something comes out broken, well, it's probably because something broke it. And maybe we should examine the environment that things grow up in, and how did they get that idea, that wacky, crazy idea in their head? How did that happen? How could they be this stupid? Think it's okay to go bash some woman in the head with a brick for $20? How did they get that fucking stupid? And so yeah, you can start to dissect and understand the mechanism and the function, but you're only going to do that because you have the courage to analyze it and see the truth, which is, yes, I'm part of a game of life, all right, and these pieces are being orchestrated by a crude circumstance of our biological history, dictated by crude forces that govern chemical reaction. Damn. It's not a great story.
This consciousness takes a huge swath of a territory and attempts to boil it down and concentrate it, and it's as if...
Well, whatever. Consciousness doesn't do that. Logic does that. That's a logic function. Logic says, there's a bear in my way. How do I get around the bear? How do I avoid getting eaten by the bear but still get to eat the raspberries? Because the bear's going to eat all the raspberries if I don't do something.
It's an exercise of power that gratifies some kind of sense of of meaning in the person who's doing it.
Right. Well, you're like Dr. Snake Oil. You got a little logo on the side of your wagon. And you feel good because I'm a pharmacist. Yeah, Dr. Snake Oil. I'm a pharmacist. I'm going to help people. I'm going to liquor them up and take away their pain. And okay, I'm going to lie through my teeth and make up complete nonsense. I'm going to, pour shit into a bucket and say, here's a bucket of shit, and I'm going to sell it to them, make a good living, and live kind of comfortable and be kind of a jackass. But no, I'm a doctor. Yeah, I'm Dr. Snake Oil. Oh, come on. This is, you want to keep doing this kind of bullshit?
But I think, and one of the responses, I think it was Misery Me gave, which I did not I think it well illustrated what Fred was talking about. I didn't think it was a sufficient response at all. It really fails to address, and I'll put links to both these videos, I guess the degree to which people who are antinatalists, from my opinion, I'd like to see someone who's an antinatalist give a rich, thoroughgoing account of all the nitty-gritty details of what life was actually like for humans prior to modern pain relief like morphine and prior to modern contraception like the pill and or birth control.
I don't know. What, you haven't watched movies? I mean, really, why do I have to, say prior to bathrooms, too, in cities, right, where they dump their shit into the gutter every day? Why do I want to describe what life was like when people live with lice and bed bugs, and they kind of had to perfume the shit out of each other to knock down the stench? They didn't take a warm shower every morning. Yeah, I mean, yeah, who cares? How is this relevant to anything? Let's go back to when human beings, before all of that, even before they had a house, and let's talk about how they lived. Who cares? We see how animals live. Yeah, humans were animals. That's where we came from. We came from out there. Okay, we were like chimpanzees. That's what that's what the rational, logical evidence indicates, Professor. We were chimpanzees. Whatever, chimpanzos. We're different, but the same game.
That we now see. I mean, there's lots of kinds of birth control now. To try to get at what life was like prior to that would be much more interesting, especially for those people who want to claim that they're really on the side of evolution. Okay, for those people who like to argue...
Well, I don't even know what that means. We're on the side of evolution, and somehow we're going to prove it by describing how life was when people had even less control over their life, were even more destroyed by, a microbe invaded. They didn't understand. Okay, it was killing all the people, the poor people. They thought it was God punishing the poor, and all it was God punishing the people living in the sewage. Yeah, wow. This is almost really annoying. Like this is how you explain our origins and our function is to talk about life in 1482. I don't think so.
You against the antinatalists. I don't really want to get involved in the argument. I've already suggested that Lynn Margulis, certainly a wonderful resource. I'm finishing right.
Yeah, whatever. There's nothing in those books. She'll use some bizarre language to describe some things. She'll play Carl Sagan kind of games with the truth, but she's a scientist, and there's nothing in those books that contradict the thing I've ever said. Not one. You won't find anything in there that's going to contradict anything I said. She's talking about another subject, all right? She's playing the, wow, look how wowy it is. That's all she's doing. She's going, wow, 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 wow. And yeah, okay, but once the wow wears off, what you're supposed to do is deal with the fact. I mean, you could peel the skin off a leech and go, wow, look at that fucking thing. Look at all them thingies and that thingy there, and look at all that stuff. And you get all wowy, but it's a leech.
Now, microcosms, can't say enough. The people who think that what they're talking about is life as a whole, they got it all as a molecule, and they're going to talk about something like, and the expression has been used, unintelligent design. Okay, when a person uses an expression like unintelligent design, you can only see the most myopic anthropomorphism, anthropocentric.
I mean, this is just so silly. Humans are obsessed with their idea of complexity. It's exactly the opposite statement. It's showing what's behind the curtain. Humans are all about, the fire god. All right, and unintelligent design is basically just saying, no, it's a guy behind the curtain pulling levers.
To imagine that life is unintelligent is from whose perspective?
From a rational perspective, when you analyze the crude forces that make life possible, the basic computer function, yeah, that's what it is. It's unintelligent. It's not ordered. It's not constructed. It's not engineered. It's not a machine that makes machines. It's a function that creates the opportunity for something machine-like to be created. And because the machines compete with each other, the machines evolve. Evolution's the key word here. And they evolve in an arena that demands nothing from them except winning. Now you can understand that's a crude system, right? Where winning is the only construct to put on top. The only rule the umpire has. Somebody wins. Doesn't matter what they do. Any way they can do it. That's all. Winning. Period.
Certainly not life's perspective. I want to see somebody tackle these two books. You come...
Tackle them how? What quote from them? Just do something, okay, and I'll tackle. But I'm not going to read that nonsense, Okay, and that's what it is. Well, no, it isn't not. No, Margolis, like I said, she's not nonsense. But look, she hangs out with the hippie crowd because that's where the money is. All right, so she plays this Gaia game, but when push comes to shove, when she's asked the questions directly, she'll tell you the planet Earth is not a living organism. It doesn't reproduce. It doesn't evolve through natural selection. It doesn't do any of that stuff. It's not an organism. It doesn't feel and it doesn't think.
And get these and try to give the argument. No, life seems pretty supremely intelligent in its
Again, I'm not going to argue this. Supremely intelligent in its... All right, let's go.
ability to sustain itself, integrate itself in an autopoetic way.
Yeah, autopoetic. There's nothing you can do with these words and this jargon. Emerald is durable. Diamond. I mean, again, we're just going to talk mush. All right, and it's not, and who's talking about durability? The question isn't everything we know of as intelligence has been these subtle things that we're talking about, right? We're just saying go back 200 years. Intelligence is revealed through mechanisms to obstruct nature in its function. Create penicillin, create a bathroom, warm water so you can take a shower. All of these are the functions of intelligence, is all these augmentations we've imposed on top of the ignorant nature. Jeez.
I think that it would be really a hard argument to try to claim that life is unintelligent. Now you could say...
Well, again, I said unintelligent design. It's clearly a play on words against intelligent design argued by Christians. So the whole point of it is to argue against this idea that any God did it or that any thoughtful mechanism did it. No intelligence required. It's a gladiator war. We can all understand that if I set up an arena right now and I just take human beings and I put them in a cage match and I just reward a certain kind of, whatever one, I do it by some standard, that by that standard, those kind will be more of those and there'll be less of the other kind. I mean, the mechanism is crudely simple.
From the perspective of people and from a certain perspective, one given person or a collective of a people, you could try to do it that way, but you're not going to say life itself. And first, unintelligent.
Well, again, I'm not going to argue. Like I said, this is just basics, okay? As you go back, you will find the systems get simpler and simpler. That they have a core function, okay, and the mechanisms can be reduced. I mean, it's everywhere in the universe, and it's most especially revealable in this circumstance, just because when there is a thing called evolution, which we only think, which I think can be logically demonstrated to be a local phenomenon only, that it breaks a lot of the crude natural function. More is revealed. It's just not suns burning anymore.
Design doesn't make any sense. There was no designer, so there's a sort of cryptic...
Well, whatever. There's no cryptic anything. We have language in our vocabulary that's commonly used. We use words that don't really exist, like spontaneous and other words, because of they're artifacts of culture. And if there was a word that accurately said the word, well, I could say unintelligent function. But again, the whole point of using the word was to play on the cliche language of common use. So that's what I'm attacking. But whatever. I mean, semantics. Live for that crap, fella.
Religiosity. I think when people think that antinatalism has a crypto-religiosity, it's the anthropocentrism of it all.
Yeah, whatever. Back that accusation up with something, please. Please, you're the guy talking about bacteria wanting. I mean, this is bizarre upside down day kind of bullshit. You can't point that finger at somebody else, you crazy motherfucker.
The sort of everything's comes down to the values as they are valued by human and by...
Oh, whatever. Again, prove that too. The values are completely non-flattering. How can you make this argument? The whole philosophy doesn't sit there and say, we're great, you suck. There's no benefit. It's an all suck kind of conclusion. Everyone loses kind of thing. And there's no, nobody gets to be the winner in this fucking philosophy. So it's just idiotic to say that somehow our personal interest has constructed this philosophy. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. Oh yeah, it was in my personal interest to realize I'm part of a stupid, futile, idiotic game in which there are no rational standards, there's no obligations to serve justice and fairness. The most basic logical constructs are completely of no interest to the mechanism. I'm supposed to somehow think that just makes me feel so great. It's like learning, that all your industry of your entire life, somebody stole all that money and they made a big bulldozer that just runs over babies or something. I mean, it's like finding out everything that you thought you were was just shit. How is that human-centric? God.
Yeah, by humans, but by some abstract thought.
It's not an abstract thought. I mean, we personally experience consciousness. We know its power. It's, it's incredibly powerful phenomenon. And we merely acknowledge that this does create a thing that makes it all matter. It doesn't matter. Rocks rolling down a hill. Who cares what rock wins? Who cares how many rocks get smashed to pieces? Who cares how hard they hit each other? Who cares? It all doesn't matter. But make them sentient. Give them the capacity to feel. And all of a sudden it matters how they fall down the hill. It matters a lot.
In some humans. Okay, other resource, in addition to the sort of biological sciences about how misguided people seem to be, or at least reductive people seem to be in their notions of life.
Yeah, whatever. Another cheap shot. This is all you got? I mean, why don't you tell us what your theory of life is? Why don't you tell us from origin to function how it really works? Yeah, we're not going to do that because all you people have a secret code god.
Yeah, the real resource here is one of the, I'm a great fan of Georg Simmel's work. One of Simmel's real wonderful pieces here was on Schopenhauer and Nietzsche. And if you're familiar with this, debate, Schopenhauer runs a little bit before Nietzsche, and Schopenhauer, they're both, you could say, equally struggling.
And who could care? I mean, this is one of the biggest liabilities of all these philosophers' books, is that they spend most of the time in their books arguing inane bullshit with each other. I mean, I don't know why so many people find any of this shit at all valuable. It's these convoluted arguments about how, when you used a 5-letter word instead of the 4-letter vernacular, you were making an argument from this, and I did that. And it's all this inane mush. They aren't saying anything. They're just arguing about arguing.
With the wake of the loss of God. Both of them, both Nietzsche and Schopenhauer, thoroughgoingly atheist, thoroughgoingly rejecting anything like Christian God, anything like, what we would call a theistic position.
Anything like? I don't think it was anything like. I mean, Schopenhauer was a bit of a Buddhist, so people want to say Buddhism is atheism. It's not. I mean, they have a whole theory of a whole construct, a function behind the universe. Right? You can't have function without somebody who built the function. So even if they don't name the God, they obviously think a God must be behind it, because guess what? Function doesn't come from nowhere. Alright? You don't have an elevator in the universe and then say the elevator always was. No, something had to build it.
And yet Schopenhauer ends up with an abysmal pessimism because he's really there before Darwin. He doesn't know how to make sense of evolutionary.
Why, really? And you think that if Schopenhauer was alive today, he'd be somehow more optimistic? Nuclear bombs, assholes. Oh, great. You know, I mean, knowing the genetic code and the genome isn't going to cheer Schopenhauer up any more than it would have. And he's going to look at the world and see the teetering it's doing and how it's on the brink of a big giant part of it. All we need is a little bit of a calamity and half the fucking world's population starves to death. So yeah, he's not going to be too optimistic.
Thought in the way that Nietzsche does. Nietzsche, as post-Schopenhauer and in dialogue response, I guess, to Schopenhauer, finds possible meaning in art and in creativity and in...
Yeah, all he does is it's virtual reality. If he had known about TV, he would have just said, watch movies. That would have been his answer to the human problem. He would have been a huge fan of virtual reality. All he was saying was succumb to it, give in to it, play the game as hard as you can, and don't look at it. Don't look at it. Just pretend that every time somebody dies, it's just a virtual character. I mean, he was already saying, you know, get lost in your own delusions. Because if you go for reality, if you go anywhere near being scientific and logical and sensible and responsible, it's going to eat the fucking shit out of you because the system is that broken. There's no way to play the game as an honorable, decent human, so just give in to the selfishness because you can't play the game right. You can only play it wrong. The very structure of the game is wrong. But you people know what you're talking about. You know who Nietzsche is now. I mean, I love this crap.
In the possibility of future developments and I guess the celebratory features of evolution. Okay, at any rate.
Yeah, right. Celebratory features of evolution. I guess I missed that part. I don't know. Someone want to show me that part when Nietzsche's talking about the celebratory features of evolution? Whatever.
Again, a couple of resources. You want to get into the argument and be fueled for those who would be overly reductive toward the antinatalism.
Yeah, I don't understand how this is fuel for anything. I don't think this doesn't undo Benatar's asymmetry. It doesn't undo my statement that it's a creation of a need that doesn't need to exist. Okay, it doesn't undo the zero-sum argument that all our delusions of accomplishment are really just moving up the staircase out of a dungeon. That at best all you're going to do is get out of the hole that nature put you in when you started your existence. It's not going to undo need machine, okay, as one of those little crackers that comes support. Yeah, one of those little crackers. Well, you're not going to make it soggy. Go ahead, try to dunk it in something that'll make it soggy. Go ahead and do that. I defy you to undo that simple statement. We create the need. We create the problem in the world, and then we fix some portion of it, and then call ourselves hero. We start the fire, okay, and then show up on the scene as firemen and say, I'll save the day. Do something with that cracker. You're not going to soggy that cracker either. That's the game we're playing here on Earth. We feed our ego out of somebody else's whatever, ruin. The negative mechanics in this game there's a plethora of them. Life isn't stupid for one reason, it's stupid for a whole bunch of reasons. It's a dumb game, only playable by dumb people. And you're selling Dr. Feelgood's dumb sauce. That's all you're doing. You're selling delusions, daydreams, dumbassery, and saying, there, that'll make all the dumbasses feel better. And I'll feel good because, yeah, I can make a living selling shit. Shit in a bottle. And you can do that for a living. So, yeah, you win, and from your perspective, the dumbasses win because you just made them dumb enough to play the game. Yeah, there's nothing else I can say, but I'm sorry. I mean, you people have to do some of the work here. You can't just say, oh, they're all wrong. We've completely defeated their argument. Where did you do that? You know, I mean, this is just stupid. Well, there's nothing else, you know, it's stupid. Yeah, I'm on a stupid planet, so of course everything's fucking stupid. Oh, Bark Lord. Oh dear, he's gonna say something to piss me off. Not too many comments, only 13 comments. Oh, but the same old dew in the morning. Oh, exactly, the point is there's no previous design. There's a function. There's properties to elementary matter. Compounds. There's a design in the DNA molecule. It has it has properties. And those properties are going to dictate what the possibilities are. But in nature, things look like they are designed. No. I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it, but okay, I'll grant it. That, you know, that the intuitive sense would say something more complex than the evolution of a DNA molecule constructed all of that stuff out there. Yeah, that would be the intuitive conclusion. And fundamental physical law and evolution are responsible for that. Well, I don't know. I guess she's arguing with somebody. Unintelligent design means there's no designer. You didn't understand the terminology. It's coming from the evolution debate. Exactly. I don't know. Yeah, so they're confirming my point. I'm using this term as opposed to intelligent design. Man, these people are just so, well, ill-informed. Lacking proper understanding. Right on, Professor Anton. It is a God complex. So it's a God complex to describe the forces as crude, stupid, and dumb. Okay, well, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could move to Pluto. I'm not going to read George Bernard Shaw. That I'm not going to do. What if you both had the same idea? To some extent, sure, but no, perception is death with, to death with, like the slip. I don't know. I noticed that I was not intended. Exchange an apple for a banana, then beat the other monkeys over the head with the banana and take back the apple. Then one of them has the upper hand. I don't know. Because the answer, inward resentment towards life as it was, as it is. Well, I don't know. But that's that really nutty Fight One Club guy. Brilliant. I agree, and I've done this myself. This reductive summing up of things. And I will try to be more self-conscious about this in the future. This reductive summing up of things. Yeah, so that's not, you really don't want to do that. Don't look at the truth. Keep living the lie. The human-centric lie, Professor. Alright, anyway, I'm supposed to be doing the what videos did I make this week thing. So let's get that done real quick. Update video, you know. Alright, there's my website. I do have to fix this. I think this thing is crashing this page every now and then. So it's not the kind of page you want to open all the time. Maybe. So whatever. Something in here anyways. Well, whatever. Alright, conference report. This was a good one. Pathetic, bullshitter. This was a really, I think it was, you know, it's a hostile video, but it was pretty good video. Just because, so that was another good one, a response to Andy. Andy finally hasn't made a video for a day, right? Phew, a day off. Draft science on feeling. No, it's a good video. The green button. I like this one. This one, I wish people would pay attention to this. Give me an explanation. Would you initiate the game? Would you create life? Would you do it? Explain why you would. Explain the logic of pressing the green button. Have the guts to do that for me, please. Reaction, action, and such. Don't remember that exactly, but it's probably good. Rosebushy versus basic brain function. Well, it's probably not great just because Rosebushy ruins everything. Even you can't do a response video because it's got Rosebushy in it. Alright, progress, cannibalism, stupidity. These are all good videos. Revenge of the Izamites. Yeah, I should be able to say that. Revenge of the Izamites. So that's the last update video. Nice ass. Anyway, yeah, so I think that's it. Do I need to do anything? Mr. Why is somebody putting my name in there? I very much doubt that it is. I can't. Oh yeah, well whatever. I'm not allowed to insult people. They're allowed to insult me though. Call me pathetic and such. Yeah, whatever. Good luck, sir. Goodbye. These people give me lectures as they're walking out the door. Can't you feel my foot on your ass? Just get the fuck out the door. Goodbye, retard. Ugh. Insufferable. Yeah. I mean, I just can't believe people get caught up in this shit. I mean, you're supposed. I mean, well, anyway, I guess it's just the way I function. I mean, I just really couldn't care who makes the argument. I don't care how they make the argument. I don't care which shape it's in. If somebody says I can prove there's life on Mars, I don't care what they're gonna, how they're gonna say it. I don't care whether they're gonna drool while they're proving it. I'm gonna listen to their proof. Ugh, people are just amazing, and I'm gonna respond to it if it's absolute shit. Especially if he's getting treated as if he has, you know, pearls flying out of his mouth or something. Like he's brilliant, and I can prove he's not. He's a fucking idiot and a kook. Well, I'm gonna do it. I mean, it's just obvious. Ugh, whatever. This is really just. This isn't much fun, but whatever. Yeah, too bad, right? Yeah, too bad. Back to work. Till next time. I think that's all there is for now. Yeah, I just really don't have any more. Ooh, Running Man. Chainsaw scene. Oh, you're gonna put that chainsaw in my crotch, huh? Is that what you're gonna do? Huh? Is that what? Oh, yeah, I guess that's what he did.